There is a brand new version of Google VR. It is called 0.9. Google VR SDK 0.9 was released a day ago. So, that's good news. Let's look at some of the changes that are going on here. One of the additions is they've added a play scheduled to GVR audio source in order to set a sound to play at a specific time. So that's a cool function. In editor, spatial audio playback works on Linux installations. Okay, Google VR audio source is no longer duplicated after deleted, followed by undo. That's a good thing for sure. Stereo separation is correctly applied to the GVRI component in start rather than on resume. And when you go into the commits and you look at the commit from yesterday, you can kind of see some of those changes, the changes that were made in GVRI here. This was added, and so for detailed look at what's going on, you can see what changes were made in the GVRI script here. But on the surface, to make things easy, stereo separation is now correctly applied. They fixed the matrix math in GV distortion if you're using vertex displacement. Distortion correction, which most applications do not use this. So just a few minor little fixes. Changes. The Windows audio library is now statically linked. We also should see the 0.85 changes below for some information about how to prepare for the upcoming native integration for Google VR and Unity. The C# events in GVR Viewer were vulnerable to order of execution bugs, so they've been removed. The old electronic display stabilization has been removed in favor of Daydream's upcoming asynchronous reprojection. This is the major update right here. Magnetic trigger detection on the magnetic Google Cardboard viewers. So if you have a viewer like this and it has a button with the magnet that you pull down, the magnetic trigger detection has been removed from the SDK. So this 2014 Google Cardboard viewers and related models are no longer supported. You're going to have to get a new cardboard device going forward. Please use an older SDK if these viewers are still important to your product. So if you want to support this viewer with the button, with the magnetic trigger button, you're going to have to stay at a maximum level, at a maximum version of 0.85. After 0.85, this doesn't work anymore. And I'm okay with that because I hated the magnet trigger. And when I was developing for this, I designed my games not even to use any input with this and only use gaze input because it was so frustrating pulling that button. So this is a good change, and I feel confident that not supporting magnetic button going forward is okay, and people are going to know that they need to update their devices. There's a couple of known issues, but let me talk about 0.85. So the 0.85 and 9 SDKs include a preview of the new workflow for using the SDK after Google VR is a native part of Unity. So instead of using prefabs, the Unity camera will render a mono or stereo depending on the target platform, and Google VR settings will be built into the editor. So I'll just show some of that real quick in the editor. What's happening here is there's a game object called GVR Viewer Main, which has the GVR Viewer script on it. And this is not a part of the Cardboard main or the VR main prefab anymore. It's on a game object of its own that just stays at 000. And if you're developing an entire game, it's probably fine to just add the GVR viewer script to your game controller, and then add your game controller as well. It's just basically an addition to your static game controller. And then there's just a main camera, which is great. And like Google said, they're preparing for native Unity integration. So here we just have a camera, and it does have the GVR audio listener. There's the gaze input module. But that's pretty much it. And when you go into runtime, since it knows that we're rendering VR mode, it's going to go ahead and spawn a left and a right camera, which has the iScript on it, and it's going to spawn a stereo controller script here, as well as the GVR head script. The game controller is going to get pre and a post render added. So that's a much better way to have it set up, because now it's much closer to being able to work natively with Unity. So it looks like with GoogleVR SDK version 1 that's going to be coming soon, that's when we'll see native Unity integration. Another really cool addition that came in 0.85 was an audio script. And so if we look at the GoogleVR audio folder, there is a GVR audio sound field now. So the audio sound field, GVR sound field component that allows playback of first order ambisonic recordings. The audio sample should be in Ambix ACN SN3D format. So I've added that script here, and what you have to do is you have to add a audio clip for channels 1 and 2, which is the W and the X. You got to add an audio clip for channels 3 and 4, which is the Z and the X, and it has the traditional settings here. For more information on Ambisonic recording, I'm going to put this link in the description. It's about Google Jump, but it's close enough. They talk about spatial audio, ambisonics, spatial audio support, capturing ambisonics, producing ambisonics, and they talk about using the free Ambisonic plugin from Reaper. So there is new tools here for spatial audio. So other than some fixes, we're looking at a couple of additions to the Spatial Audio SDK, which is the Ambisonic capability, as well as play scheduled for the GVR audio source. And also, we got to prepare for not supporting magnetic button, because in this version 0.9, that support has been removed. If you love developing for VR, remember to subscribe and share with us the games and experiences you're out there working on. Thanks for watching.